Ijemo angoa wonunchone yongwele enakpenile fa shirasa egbele Moneje sheje ni eje nagbele je wanyang moleno ni dawaje Alpha and Omega God. You who begin all things and end all things. We thank you, God, the creator of the universe. Those of us gathered here, you created us for your glory. You brought us up through one of the institutions, Osu Salem. We are gathered here this afternoon, God, to see how best the school and the structure can be restored to the glory of your holy name. We're asking as Alpha, begin with us. Take us through and end successfully with us. Our brothers and sisters, our brothers on their way coming, Lord, we ask that you bring them to join us, that we will have a fruitful celebration this day also to the glory of your holy name. When we are done, we'll celebrate your goodness. In Jesus Christ's name we have prayed with thanksgiving. Amen.
Good afternoon to you all. On behalf of session, I want to welcome all of us to this forum. About 3 years ago, I think session invited the old students of Salem, and we had a forum, a discussion. At the end of the discussion, we said that we were going to discuss the way forward on how to lift Salem up. It's taken us 3 years back and forth from Osu all the way to PCG head office. So today, I think we called, so it's a session that has invited you. So OEPC, as a custodian of the school, we have invited the stakeholders. That where we are now, we are come to present our current situation, what we intend to do the way forward. That is what we are going to do today. Then we have someone to do a presentation. After the presentation, we'll discuss the presentation and look at the way forward. So this is just to help us as session to also buy into the ideas of the stakeholders that we intend to partner to do what we need to do. So basically, it is Osu Eben-Ezer session that has invited you. Then whatever discussion that happens here, session will also go back, have a discussion, and take a final decision on the way forward. That is how it works, and that is why we invited. So I want to thank all of you for making the time to be here this afternoon. We hope that you all, unfortunately, we might not have the time to respond to us. Some of my friends are here. We are live on Facebook. So those on Facebook can also put their comments, and then when we see, we will respond accordingly. To lead us to do this presentation, we have architect Mr. David Kojo Deban. He will introduce himself, tell us where he works, and then he will do a presentation on our behalf. And then after the presentation, the forum will be open for us to have our inputs and have our discussions, and then a decision will be taken. That is the first one. So the actual discussion is on the building itself, the structure, the way forward on how to put up the structure. That's what we are coming to do. I remember the last meeting, some people were like, oh, demolish and put a new one. Some people were like, no, if you are not a historian, you might not understand the purpose of the building. So we have gone back and forth, and where we are now, we'll make a presentation. So I'll humbly ask Mr. Deban to take over the pulpit and then share with us his presentation. So you do a brief introduction, and then you tell us what you have for us. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Ministers of the Osu Eben-Ezer Presbyterian Church, members of session, President and members of the Old Boys Association, Professor Emeritus Dr. H.N.A. Wellington, who is here, members of the Restoration Committee, and all stakeholders. Good evening. So, my name is Architect David Kojo-Derban, and I am in charge of the school restoration project. The project was introduced to me by Professor Wellington, who for the last 25 years has taught me and guided me through the field of heritage, and bid me that I take up the project after him, and we share that vision of making this vision come to pass. Then also I share this vision with the whole church, and we all know the history of the building, and we all share that love and the passion that we want to see it restored. So I'll go to my slides, which will show the journey, which we have been through in trying to achieve where we are now, and the future in the needs of the project. So, next slide, please. It is important for us to understand that it is not just about the building, the school alone, but it is about conserving heritage areas. That the school was part of a Salem, and there are projects and there's research being done by professors in Switzerland and Ecuador, about the Salems, of the Presby Church. So it behoves on us also to think about the whole of the Presbyterian area that we have here in Osu, not only just the church, and to one day to see that the area is a listed area. It is a listed heritage area under protection. So that marks the importance of just not having the church restored, but the importance of the whole area that the church has as a listed heritage. And UNESCO encourages this under its urban laws that it is trying to draw up. Many countries have done it, and we also have to be able to encourage listing our areas and our buildings. So, next slide, please. The Osu Salem building, these are old pictures that we have gathered. It was built, completed in 1885, thereabouts. And it has since then been the cornerstone of the foundation of education, symbolizing one of the first boarding school in Ghana. And it has, as part of the members who have passed through it, scholars, physicians, attorneys, architects, city mayors, some of you who are here. The history, and I need not press the history today, but we all know that its importance in Accra and in Ghana itself is something that we cannot underestimate. In that when this restoration project is complete, it will be a beacon for restoration for other historical buildings and projects. Next, please. We are all aware about the current condition of the school. These are old pictures taken last year when this presentation we did this presentation for the first time, we can see that the western part of the building is damaged. Damaged. It's damaged because of of termites and also the wind and so on, and the wood that has been penetrated by humidity, water. What is making it still stand is that the structure itself, made of stone, and on the stone platform it stands, is very, very strong. So had it been an attempt to demolish, if there was an attempt to demolish it, we will find it very, very difficult, because the building was built, to be very durable. What is wrong with it is the wood, due to its age and due to the humidity and due to the rot that has gone on. The roof is giving way, and some of the boards, the wooden members are also giving way. Apart from that, the structure itself is very strong and lends itself as part of the points that we need to that support its restoration rather than its demolition. Next slide. So we did an analysis of the building, the roofs, the trusses, and everything. These are just preliminary studies, which also show that the fact that the stone, the rooms of the building, both first and ground floor, first floor, is made of stone, and is very, very durable, standing on its platform. And up to today, you can still see that lots of the parts are standing. Next. So I traveled to Malta, and I invited some restoration architects. In fact, one of the best firms in Europe. They suggested that they join me in the effort to restore this project and give it an international standard. So I was invited to Malta early last year, where I presented the project to them. And here we are, we're looking at videos of Professor Wellington also speaking about the building. And we had a time where we were all very enlightened about the project. Next slide. So over there, we read through the project, a primary sketch from the sketches and from the pictures, and we prepared to do some presentation of how the final restoration drawings will look like, and we resolved that this is a project that is worth pursuing, and we'll make sure that it comes to pass. Next. Again, these are some of the analysis we did. We wanted to see the advantages of the natural ventilation. Some of the attributes and the characteristics of the building were studied, and it was built in a sustainable way. And in these days, that's an approach in architecture that is taken. And this building will then also be one of the buildings in Accra that has been restored with a sustainable approach as the preservation demands. Next slide. Yes, we're also still looking at the wooden, the timber members, and the way they had been arranged. We're looking at the roof, the type of truss, and the primary ways in which we could restore it and the way it would stand. Okay, next. Okay, so we're looking at this, a primary three-dimensional projection of it. We're looking at how we could, some of the advantages of what we will finally see when we finish. Next. Yes. Some of the intentions that we had was to use this as some sort of a public space, like a museum, a lecture hall, a library, and an archive. Next, this is the ground floor. Next, and the upper floors are where the libraries are, the archives will be kept, And so when when we are restoring this building, we will have to follow the rules of building and designing archives and museums, display areas, lighting, atmospheric temperature needed for the things that we are going to display, and so on and so on. And of course, places for management. Next, this is this is, so these are pictures of 3D impressions of what it might look inside. Next, there's the library. Next, gathering places, places where we can hold these forums, but you can still see that inside we have kept the timber elements, trying to make it look as natural as possible as it was before. Next. Yes, okay. And this is how we intend to use some of the places upstairs, for engagement, interactions, exhibitions, permanent exhibitions. Some will be temporary exhibitions that will change. Yeah, thank you. Next, please. So overall, this is what the restored building will look like. We intend to, as preservation laws demand, to give it the same characteristics of the look that it had before, the same elements. Next. Yes, okay. And to add the additional building on the right side of the picture that you see, to make it the restrooms, for refreshment and so on. But to keep elements of the building, the doors, the windows, all of those things to follow restoration rules and regulations, to keep the original character of the building. Next. Yes, so this is what it will look from the courtyard. Very much restored, everything renewed. We'll go on to some details later. Now, so somewhere in February this year, we started to remove all the debris that had fallen from the western side, to remove the old wood, some of the wood that had rotten, and to be able to shore it up so that it will be stable. Some of the wood, some of the debris had been there so long that it was a bit difficult to remove. But this particular exercise took about 4 or 5 days, and we're able to remove all of it. Next, and what we were able to see some of the original timber members of the wood. What you see there on the left there is, some of the original methods of construction that are long gone. And in these days in Europe, when you have these kinds of timber members that show originality, it is like treasure to them. So anybody who from Europe who looks at this building and some of these preserved members, some of these timber members that are there, and some of the construction members, when the plaster went off, on the right you see the method of construction, the way they slope the timber members within and pack it with stone and earth material. And this has lasted for almost 160 years. All of these pictures call for, the evidence of this calls for a possible exhibition that we must have in Ghana, because the knowledge, this kinds of knowledge, which is even being sought worldwide, in Ghana is being lost. So Osu Presby has become, even stripping out the debris alone has revealed its importance, that it's one of the buildings that, shows how the building methods were done, in its pure state, the way the timber members were laid, the angles of the wood. So all of what we see there is not just trash or junk to be thrown away. Many of these members, when we took them down, have been stored have been put to storage, and we intend to have an exhibition of construction, and how it was done, for this. Next, please. Yes, so this was just before we finished, a picture of just before we finished, see the amount of debris we had to pull out, whilst we were then also studying how the buildings were done, and then also some of the damages and the cause of the damage, yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. Yes. So what I did with the Maltese is that we decided to apply with the project. With the proposals, we applied to the architectural records. It's a journal. It's a very important journal in our field. One of the best, and when you apply to them, they will give you an award. They have an international panel which will adjudge the importance of your project, how important it is worldwide, and then you will be given an award, and the proposal for the restoration of Osu Salem won an award in 2 categories of the International Architectural Records Award. It came as the most highly recommended project globally, and then also it won in the new and old category. In both categories, they were winners. We were so proud, and we received this award in Milan, Italy, and we were so proud of it that it shows is that this project that we are discussing today it is perhaps God, and I just would like to emphasize on that divine touch, that it is not just by mere chance or that with our mere effort that this God will shine this a light on this through this award. We were given a chance to present the project. This project now is on an international stage. So it is not for us alone. It is not now we looking at our project alone. We have the international community's eyes, on us. And this was the only project that was selected from Africa and from Ghana. So when they saw it, there is something that they saw in this project. And that is what this evening we are here to discuss. Whatever the whole world saw, the value and the quality, whatever this project stands for that they saw, is what we are coming to discuss, so that we may also see its value. If the whole international community has seen it, then this evening we must also see it. Next slide. When I came back, I quickly introduced the award to the UNESCO representative in Ghana, so that we can start laying foundation using the Osu Salem project as a foundation for the heritage areas, conserving of heritage areas and conservation of architectural heritage in Ghana together. And then, of course, the Maltese ambassador who supported the project through the firm, the architectural firm also. Next. So we have, looked at the project and looked at, different types of costs of it. And I visited the Acrophis Cristalla Memorial, Acrophis Cristalla Institute, and they also recently restored their building at a cost of about $350,000 US dollars. We, after doing some of our calculations, and this is just rough. This is just a rough, a projection. We ended up about $388,000 roughly. Looking at some of all the items that we need to provide to turn it from what it is now that is standing there into the museum that we need to be able to project in 2028. So we have various stages, and the first stage will be the pre-restoration stage. That is clearing the debris, which we have done partially, documentation drawings, which we need to do professionally, the research on its history, which has been done a few times, timber testing the timber. I called in Forig from Kumasi to come and take a look at it, and they also had a bill for us so that they may be able to test the wood and then see which ones can be reused, and then also recommend a like species that can be used instead of the ones that we are putting away when the replacement. And then also doing the restoration plans and specifications, which I will do with my Maltese partners who are experts also in the field. And we in Ghana, under the guidance of Professor Wellington, we will look at what we need to restore this building, elements that we need to change, elements that we can specify, because now it's no more a school, it's a museum, it's an archive, and the things in there must be safe. So we cannot just use a lock that is we can just buy. We have to import, a very good lock that is used, for this. That also will not rust with the sea atmosphere and so on and so forth, Then we will look at, real quantities. After doing the drawings, we look at real quantities and detailing of the cost, detailing. And then another thing that is required is the building restoration training program and plan. You see, a lot of funding partners that we have studied across the earth demand that when we are doing such a project, it must benefit learning for students, for the community, that they must also see. That's the way you don't just restore it, put a hoarding around it, and restore it, that when you finish, you pull it down, and it's prepared to finish. The community, the students, carpenters, the community must be involved. There must be a building restoration training program, for people to be conscientized about restoration. Then also, since we are going to do an archive and a museum and a library, there must be capacity training for museum for administration, so that we don't build it and then we are putting in things and we don't know how to manage it. But we have proof of the capacity building that we are proposing for this. So that's the first stage. That's a pre-restoration stage. Now, the next stage we have is a very, very important stage, and it is the public awareness stage. For such a project and its impact, we must have publications on it. We must have media engagements on it. We must have TV, radio, social media engagements on it, documentaries, community activities, exhibitions, networking, fundraising events, lectures, forums. And so all of these things are proof of the community and the church's interest in the project. This is something that is required for the funding. So the very fact that we are here this afternoon, gathered here, even as few as we are, is proof that we are interested in the project. So this afternoon, the pictures that we will take form part of the proposals for the building, for the funding. It shows that we are interested. How many times we talk about it, how many times we engage the public on it, how many times we engage the community on it, is all very important. So it's not so that somebody will just hand over money, but they want to see how we ourselves are involved in our project. Yes. Then after that, we come to the restoration and the construction itself. So we intend to strip the building of all of its timber and replace them and use some of the old stock and replace them. We'll replace the roof, the windows, the doors, the ceilings, and then we'll refurbish the whole place. And then, of course, we add mechanical elements which will be able to keep some of the place, intact throughout the year. So it's a project that is quite intense when it starts, and the last stage is a conversion to a museum. So after you've restored the building, how to convert it to a museum, the displays, the library, the type of furniture, the lighting, and so on, all has to be designed. See, so this is how we've put the program, we've put all of this program together, in a tentative way for us to look at these various options. So when we are looking at this on the funding structure, we may be required to be able, ourselves as a church, to be able to fund a stage 1 or stage 2 of it. Then the heavy one, the $300,000 part, that one can be sourced based on how we have performed before, in the first and second stage. See, how much interest we've put inside, how much, in fact, self-funding that we have put inside ourselves, will all count as part of the accounts that we will submit also for the fund. So it's not something that we haven't done anything at all and we are just asking for somebody to fund. But we ourselves have put, ourselves in it. And we have a bank account in which the church has put a little bit of funds inside. I myself, my own company, has put a little bit in there, to be able to push on the debris clearance and so on and so forth. Yes. Last slide, please. Next. Yes. So the last slide here shows some of the eligibility criteria that we need. Some of the sources of the funding, that we have to look at. Do we have local government sources like other places? No. Foreign funding agencies. Some years ago, they would have come to our aid. These days, Trump has changed the system. Moving money from across the world for a certain purpose such as this is something that they are looking critically at, and it's not coming easy. Most of the places that we have looked across to Europe, aren't showing as much, keen interest as they should. But they require certain things that we should do also for them to be able to. Lottery funding, where other countries, they are able to make their money for heritage, that's not something that we do. Charitable trusts, maybe we don't have them. Architectural heritage funds, we can look at it. Across the world, there are architectural heritage funds, world heritage architectural funds that will be willing to look at it. So you understand how winning that international award has come in handy in making that first step for the funding to come through. Commercial sector organizations. Yes, in Ghana, we can appeal to commercial sector organizations to help us on the basis that we are also part of them. All of us, some of us work in places like that, are connected to commercial entities who, as part of their social corporate responsibility, may be willing to give. We are also looking at private individuals, friends and societies, other people whose interests we have to try and bring forward, so that they will be interested in our project based on how we ourselves are interested. And then, of course, community share groups. We are a community. The Presbyterian community is here. We are also a worldwide community. We can look among ourselves. And that is why I place it like that. We also look within ourselves, not only in Ghana, but across the Presbyterian world, we can also look among ourselves. It doesn't have to be outside. We can look at how we can get it. It doesn't have to be all at once. If we can gather it step by step, and I believe that by God's will, this project will come to pass. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, thank you. I think where we've gotten to, we'll ask for any question, clarification, or contribution. And then we'll move on from there. So we'll open the floor. If we may have some contribution or any question. So basically what he has done is to present where we are now, the decision, like what he has presented to session, and session has agreed that let's present to the stakeholders, let's get your inputs, and then we can move on from here. So if we have any question, contribution, the floor is open. Beadote, please monitor, and if there are some questions on Facebook, let us know. Thank you.
Hello? Hello? Yeah, good afternoon. From the presentation, we can all realize that this project is going to be very capital intensive. $388,000 is a lot of money. It's no joke at all. I want to find out if the church has in mind launching a major fundraising, what do you call it, agenda, so that we can raise funds. The church can raise funds through stakeholders, all students, interested Ghanaians and companies interested in such project. I think that should be laudable. So I want to find out from the church, if there's no plan like that, I'm suggesting that this project should be launched in this church with a major fundraising agenda. A committee set up to oversee the project with representation from Osoba, the church, other women. I'm sure we'll make headway.
Thank you. The church wants to ask. More questions, please, or more contributions.
Good afternoon. Yeah, then from your presentation, we could see that the first two phases will need around $30,000 for that. May I find out if we will be proceeding by phases, and then as the money comes in, as the funds comes in, they will take up a stage at a particular time. Then we source for the other stage. I think if we start doing that, that one will help. Rather than we looking at the 388,000 at a go, it will create problem for us. So I would suggest that we take it stage by stage. We do a major fundraising. Our first aim is to get the first two phases off the board. So at least when it comes to the major one, that is the 300 and something, then that is where other stakeholders outside the country will be pursuing them. Other than that, we will stay at one place and will not do anything. So my humble suggestion is we should start with the first two phases, launch a major fundraising, and then proceed from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What I want to say is, I don't know whether this announcement that was made with this flyer that I've seen went to all churches, because I went to school to Salem with many people. Some have traveled outside, Some are also in other churches, Lighthouse, ICGC, Methodist. And so I think the first step is to rally the people around. If we can make this announcement, you see, we make it that what? All students of what? Osu Salem. So that we can have another meeting. Maybe another presentation can be made so that, because as we are all saying, it's capital intensive. And those of us here cannot do it alone. So publicity. If there's a committee, write letters to other churches, other organizations, inviting all old students to a meeting. I think that was well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just pass a comment from the third one. So when we got here, we realized that the numbers are few. And quickly we decided, let's do Facebook and YouTube so that at least we can have the presentation and share. So what you are saying, what we can do is for us to share on our classmates' platforms, the Facebook, the YouTube, to share on your platforms. Not to invite Uncle David to come here and present, because even when you invite the people, we have done this announcement for over a month now. Look at our number. So I think the way to go is to share it on our platforms. I think that will encourage others also. Again, also, not to be frightened by the $388,000. It's money, but I'm sure God being our helper will be able to get that money to do it. We have not thought of launching it in the church as you have just mentioned, but we'll think about it. We'll take it to session and think about it. I think it's a laudable idea. Thank you very much. Papa Mate, you were suggesting that we do it in phases. I think it's a beautiful thing. We have started. That's what Papa Devan has started. Clearing the place to start the whole thing. So that's maybe we can call that phase 1. Clearing the place. And then we continue with the rest. I think that will also help us so that we know we are raising $30,000 for phase 2. And then we raise that money. We finish phase 2. We are raising this money phase 3. And then we are moving like that. Thank you very, very much.
Papa, thank you for your presentation. Looking at the structure, I know originally the building it's for educational purposes. Now we are looking at transforming it or converting it into a museum. Though we have other structures there that can take care of the classrooms, do we have any intention of modernizing those structures and then even the teachers and headmasters bungalow there so that we can have a complete building? Because if we do only the main building and then leave the others, we'll have some, it will not look that nice, yeah. So is there an intention of, at least if not renovating everything, adding touch-ups to it to bring it up to speed? Thank you.
Yes, indeed, we have. We've looked at those buildings that are attached. So if you look at one of the slides, it says attached buildings, looking at the attached buildings. So we'll look at all of that and see. So this is a big budget. We'll see how, when we are structuring it, we can incorporate all of those buildings. Those buildings are also made out of earth and wood. So we take a good look at it, how to stabilize them or change their windows, and make all those structures very stable and nice. Thank you. Yes, please.
God is alive, so it is possible. And we serve a God who, when the situation is like this, that is when he will do the keche. He says he's the God who calls the things that are not as though they were. They come into being. So even though we are seeing the beginning as if it is tough, it will come to pass. Amen.
Amen.
What I didn't see in the presentation concerning the phases is the timelines. When we take stage 1, timelines. When we take stage 1, even though we are not started, we cannot put a definite date on it. And when we pick stage 1, how long it's going to take us. Let's say 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. And then maybe inside each activity, if there can be maybe work down, bring down structure. Oh, this one, if we start, it will take 2 weeks. It will overlap with this work, it will overlap with that work, so that we can get the timelines for the project. So in an average, when we say Jack, we know how long it will take us, because maybe it will also interfere with some activities. Then secondly, where I'm very interested when it comes to the soliciting of the fund is the public awareness. If you look at the slide on the public awareness, it is combo. You can see there's, if we can look at that slide, you can see that there will be a lot of activities within the public awareness side. Please, I will beg you to let us work on it, and let's look at the type of activities that will really go inside this particular phase, because within these activities, that is where we are likely to get the public to be aware of what we are doing and where the support is will be coming from. And thank you very much for now. As we move on, maybe other ideas will come. Thank you so much.
Yeah, okay. So all this falls within the project planning to be done by the committee. You know, when we set off all the project plan, the timeline, you know, it all also depends on a momentum gathering. You know, when we start something, how the momentum is being gathered, and especially to do with the networking. You know, it doesn't mean that as the building is standing there, nothing is being done. Tomorrow, I'm meeting the Minister of Tourism, basically on this project, with the architects. I've met the MP of the area, Honorable Zaneto. All of these people are connections that we can put together so that it gives our weight to our substantive weight to our proposal, so that tomorrow when we go there, it's not something that is new, but it is something that is going to have a nationwide impact. That is what the project is to have. It's not only just for our church, but it's going to have an impact on Accra and the regeneration and preservation of heritage generally in Ghana. That is the impact we are going to have. So that particular stage of the public awareness has to be very, very strong. And that is what we all have to sit down in the committee to agree what stages that where we are going, you know, and how we are going to proceed, who we are going to meet, especially when it comes to media, going to the TV stations, the old boys association. You also need to come onto the TV stations and say, you know, what the building means to you. You know, the architects will also do so. Various parties will also do so. Same as we have done abroad. You know, now we are published in most journals in Germany, in Malta, in France, in Italy. They all know about this project and are looking at when it's going to start, and when it starts, it's a measured impact. You know, now we can't dodge, we can't hide. You know, we are now on the road, and we have to make it happen. Okay, thank you. Yes, please, Prof.
Thank you very much, Architect Gerban. Your work up to now has been very excellent and very encouraging. Gives me, in particular, a great sense of hope. When I came last year to see the destructive work of the weather, the storm which came, you know, I was so disheartened to see almost a half of the structure gone. But your attempt to bring the work you are doing to the international public's attention gives me a good sense of hope. And I must therefore, in the presence of all of us gathered here, to commend you highly for the work you've done.
Thank you.
I have some concerns. My concern is that at the moment, the
state of what had been destroyed makes me to think that it could also extend. It's like a disease, which could spread to the section which is standing, which had come about as a result of the work we did in the past. The funds we raised, to cause the restoration to be done up to that time. What I want to know is that, what are your plans at the moment? And what are the initiatives you want to undertake to make sure that the destructive part of the building will not affect the section which is standing? I'm asking this because I was told by one of the people I put on the project, earlier on, architect, you know the person I'm referring to, Ajasai. He told me about the very extensive state of the foundation, which have been ill affected by termite action. So, what is there at the moment could spread to the part of this building which is whole at the moment. So, I want to know, what are you doing about this?
Yes.
To hold back the destructive work of the termites.
Yeah.
Now, before you respond to my question, I want to bring to our attention to the reason why people haven't turned up in large numbers. It has to do with the flyer. But there was no indication of who were the organizers. Everybody was asking me, who are the people who are organizing this project dialogue? I couldn't tell them. In fact, I had to call Architect Deban to make sure whether it was worth coming. What he told me was that, yes, he was part of he was going to make a presentation. So I want to say that next time you send out the flyers, make sure you indicate who are the organizers. Now, another thing about the flyer, which has caused the poor presence, the attendance, has to do with the time. Some of us have become old enough that we can't drive in the night. So setting the time at 4, I think, was not very convenient for many people. It should have been probably much earlier, 2 or thereabout. Now, the third thing I want to address has to do with the fundraising, because all the things you have indicated will cost money, certainly, but will also cause the need for initiatives to be undertaken. Now, the last dialogue we had some years back, I made a point that we have 2 distinct organizations which we can approach. And I want to remind the church or the session today that those 2 organizations are still available. I made reference to the MPS at Tema, the Meridian Port Services. We, in the past, made approach to this organization at Tema based on the historical link between the Danish embassy and this project site. We had the argument that the Danes were part of the group which invited the Basel missionaries to come. So they have joint interests in the heritage property we have here. So they sent us, that time, Engineer Tawia Adom, he accompanied me with the authority or the mandate we received from the Danish embassy to go to Tema. We met with the managing director of MPS. Because of the fact that the project was meant only for one school, somehow the managing director was opposed in the board meeting that why should he give such an amount of money or such an amount of support to only one school. So the point I want to make is that although MPS is still there and waiting for us, we need to devise an argument, to go. And especially the fact that it has now assumed an international dimension, of the project. We have a good reason to approach once again MPS. The other organization which is still there for us is the Swiss embassy. And I met the Swiss ambassador, the current Swiss ambassador, at a function. And I gave her the hint that we'll come, we being Osoba and the Presbyterian Church, the Osu congregation, I suggested to her that she should make time for us because we'll be coming very soon to see her. So I want to sit down, but before then, I would like to say that these are the three concerns I have. One, the present state of the building because of the termites. What will you do about them? And then the need to re-strategize as to how the information will go out. So it might be indicated that you and the church are behind this. And then three, the fact that we still have the opportunities of doing fundraising. Right.
Okay, thank you. So to answer the first question, as part of the sub-program over there was to fumigate the site or to fumigate the western part. The termite infestation was not as much as we first foresaw, but to fumigate it, when I talked to the forest people, they were under the opinion that I should wait for them to come and look at the part of the building that they may take for testing. Before I fumigate, maybe they want to see what type of food it is, in its pure state. So, well, I said, okay, I will wait. It's taken some time, but definitely fumigation of it is part of the program. Also, the fumigation would have taken some 4 days, and 4 days will definitely run into a school period. So we are supposed to wait until a holiday where we can cordon off the students are not there at all, and we can fumigate properly. So these factors, slow down the fumigation of it. But it is certainly in our plans, to stop the termites there from then before we continue. Yes. Okay. Then there's the I thank you for bringing up the part of MPS and the Swiss embassy. The committee will make an attempt to put a program together to see how we can gather some old boys in the church, go and see the Swiss embassy formally and tell them about our proposal. I think that will. Yes, I think that is it, right? Yeah.
Okay, so like Professor Wellington said, some of them are very old, they can't drive late. So I'll give the last 2 or 3 set of questions, and then we'll bring our discussion to a close. So those who just came and they've not made any comment and they want to, you can get a mic. So the last 2, 3. Oh, you have it, so go ahead.
Thank you very much. What I want to know is about the site. Since at least we'll be at least looking forward for people to help us. I have this experience of somebody trying to ask help an association to build a place. The most important thing they were asking for is the site. So in the presentation, I didn't see anything about the sites concerning the land borders, the parcel of the land, the ownership, that we are sure that if you take from this edge to this edge to this edge, it is truly for Osu Salem or for Osu Presby. Then the particular area where the land is occupying, the land area, the land site, do we have the site plan or the indenture occupying that land to help investors know that this land is really for this particular group of people or for Osu Presby? So do you have any idea about the site plan, the indenture, anything that shows that this is the area of land? You can say that the land is also sharing with the secondary school. So which of the land are we talking about so that we can be sure of the particular place that the project will take place? Thank you.
Okay.
Just to make it very clear, so there is no dispute about boundary. We have Osu Salem, where it is now is Osu Salem. We have the secondary school, where it is now the secondary school, because both institutions are for the church and the community. So we don't want to create any boundary confusion. So the boundary for Osu Salem is currently where it is now. And so you can even see when you go there now, the secondary school have created an entrance at the other side, and they've even closed, so they don't even use the Salem Park anymore. Now they use the side to enter. So that is the boundary now. So we just want to make it clear. But if you want the exact demarcation, I think that would be for the engineer. So, but just to make it clear that, so now there's a clear boundary. We don't want any, it is for us and we give it to this. It's for the church, and the church has decided we need a secondary school and we need a JHS. Well, it's all for the church. So that is to make that clear. Thank you.
Your observation is quite clear. But the whole place used to be for Osu Salem.
Yes.
And it's not only Presbyterians that come to Osu Salem. I'm an Anglican. There are people from other places. So I think he's right. Legally, we have to have the boundaries. Otherwise, one day after we finish, the church can say, no, it's ours. And they will take it. I'm straightforward about these things. In fact, I've spoken to people. And some of my mates, they are not interested anymore talking about Salem. So please, what he's saying is genuine. Give us our demarcation. Let us find resources. And let's build Salem.
Mr. Fanyoko.
I think we must make something very clear. The secondary school and Salem all belongs to the church. There is no land that is registered in the name of Salem or Osu Presek. The land is registered in the name of the church. That is the issue. That is the issue. Now, what I'm saying is that there is no land that is registered in the name of Osu Presek or Salem. The land is registered in the name of the church.
Okay, no problem. Okay, I understand where you're going. So you want the assurance. We'll do that and we'll put the landmark all right. Thank you. That we'll do that. We'll do that assurance. We'll make sure that the landmark is clearly done, and then we'll move on from there. I think moving forward, one of the things is that, in fact, the project as it stands now has already begun. We have tried to mobilize some small money, And that is what part of it was used for the clearing and things like the architect said. He even also contributed part in making sure. So we still have some few money that we are mobilizing. So all these things, that's why we want this engagement. So we are taking your feedback. We'll put the borders clearly, and then we'll make sure that what needs to be done is done. We'll do that. But just to give you the assurance that nobody is taking anybody's land. In fact, the whole land from here to the other side is for the church. So you can see that even those who went to boys' school, now boys' school is no more here. It's been moved to where we used to call day school. Papa, you are surprised? Yes. So we've moved boys' school to where we used to have day school. There is a story building, the Millennium Building. So boys' school is there. St. Thomas is also there. So if you close and you go there, you see that the whole place is cleared. Okay? So it's for the church. So as time goes on, there's management and change of ideas and project management. So that is what we are trying to utilize the land well. So that is why you see some things are being cleared. But rest assured, nobody is taking Salem from anybody. That one, nobody will do that. Salem will never die. It will never happen. Trust me. Thank you.
Please, I'm adding quickly. I beg you. At the next presentation, the slide we want to see is the parcel of the land. Indicating that this parcel belongs to, like, the way you see the site plan, let it be like that. And the land is very big, but the building is going to occupy some portion. So it's said this is the whole land. This is the portion of the land about maybe half a plot. This is where the project will be situated. So they can have, because when the project is completed, the whole park can even be turned into a place that can generate income. So let the investor know that this is the land I have. This is the area I'm going to use. And this portion of the land is surrounding the land which can be converted into other areas. So let us see that one at the next slide. And it will pull a lot of investors. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to thank all of you for... Oh, you are my senior. So he was my senior in Salem.
Exactly, my brother. Yeah. Just to add to what Prof said, in terms of attendance, I wish to apologize on behalf of the Osoba Association. But I spoke to a lot of Osu Salem students who are not very happy that the invitation didn't come to the executive committee, but it was rather posted directly on the association's platform. So, in fact, some of the guys were not happy. I managed to talk to them, convince them to come. I think people are not really happy. So please, Mr. Ayete, I think the next time communication should come to the Osoba Executive Committee. Then we will rally our guys around to attend the meeting.
Senior, respectfully, I'm the clerk of session, so I'll take full responsibility. But I'm also Osoba. So, from where I'm coming from, Papa Joshua is, in fact, on session, out of the 13 men, I think about 8 or so of us went to Salem, 8 or 7. So that is how come the flyer got to you fast. But when it was done, I shared it at session for them to look at it, but I realized it's gone. But I thought Mr. Matter is there, he's the secretary, or he's a member of the executive. He's on session. So he could have explained. So that is why when Professor, don't worry, not to go back and forth. We didn't come to you because we wanted it to be the people inviting you, or everybody, not you inviting, you understand? So now that we finish, as executive, you can also go and invite us. So me too, when I come, I'll come and sit at the back and ask you questions. Then as leaders, you invite the Osoba people. Then we also discuss what has happened here. As for this one, I'm here because of the church. Now when you invite us, I'll come as a Osoba member. Do you understand? So respectfully, that is why, so that's my idea. So if it didn't go well, we apologize. But the idea was that, I understand, but just to understand that for me, the idea was that the church is inviting all of us. Now that we finish, now we Osoba people can go and corner ourselves somewhere. Now wait for invitation to come, and then we Osoba people will discuss it. Well, there are some people here who are not Osoba members. You understand? But some are here because they love Osoba. It has been announced several times. You wanted to come in. Move ahead. Thank you very much. So I think we're on the same page. So I want to thank all of us for Mr. Jones. Over now, where you go? Thank you. So I want to thank all of you. I see Uncle Philip also there. Thank all of you very much for making time. So, Professor Wallet, we appreciate your time. Next time, I think, honestly, there will be no better next time. I must be honest with you. Unless we go to session and they change. But from where I sit, we are finished. We all agree that the project is good to go on. Now, session will go now and we'll push. So we are now going to discuss how to move the project. Now, we expect you as a SOBA to also plan how you also want to get involved and get back to us quickly. You've talked about there are 3 things I've picked that we should form a very strong project management committee. No problem. That is easy. So start thinking of who and who you are bringing on board. You can come to the church that, look, we have 2, 3, or 5 people. This person is a project financing guy. This is an architect. This is this. Then the church will say, okay. Then we as a church will also add 2, 3 people to join you. You understand? And then we launch the committee and the whole project. Currently, as it is, we have a committee that is supervising what is being done now. Okay? Yes, but if we think that must be done bigger with the expertise, no wahala. I think it can be done beautifully. We all have interest that we want to see the project happen. And let me say that we wish we can finish the project at the time the church celebrates the bicentenary. So it means we have about 3 years. Ibrahima, Alomale, 3 years. So it means that by the end of this year, all this talk must be done, the launching done. We have 2 years to put up the structure. I hope you understand. So I want to beg you, my Osoba leaders. I mean, when they ask me, I always say that I don't know my Osoba leaders, but they've never called a meeting for the past, only God knows. You understand? So call us a meeting. Give every year group the opportunity. This is a project. What do we do? Let's put our heads together and let's move on. And the church, we are ready to do whatever launching. Bring whoever to the lunch and make sure that we start. But we want to make sure that we have 2 years to finish the project, if we want to, in that timeline. Thank you very much, Papa. So our district minister is on leave. So Papa Ashale is the acting minister in charge for Osu Eben-Ezer. And then at this function, we have Reverend Joshua, who did the opening prayer. He's my senior. In fact, he left Salem the year I came to Salem, 1987. Hello? So I met you at Salem before you left. I didn't meet you. When I went to Salem, then he left that year. He's my brother, so don't worry. I can't say anything. And currently, he's a teacher also at Salem. And he's a reverend minister in this church. So if you have any issue, please hijack him. Any issue about the current management of Salem, you hijack him. As for Papa Ashale, fortunately or unfortunately, he has less than a month here. He's been transferred to El Shaddai. So those of you who worship at El Shaddai Presbyterian Church, Ajigano area, you will be meeting him there from September. 1st September, he will be there. We have Reverend Erasmus Nianyete Soa, the newly commissioned, ordained, newly ordained. He was just ordained, is it 3 weeks ago? Today he has his post-Thanksgiving service. He is also the Reverend Minister here. He is staying with us. May I have all the session members? If you are not a Salem boy, you are on session, please stand. If you are not a session member. So, Oma Nayele Oteish. So, Mami Nayele, she's the only female here. She's a session member. She's part of the project committee that is mobilizing things. Mami Nayele is part. Then Mr. Charles Quarte, the one in red. Oh, where are Salem? Day school. Okay, knowing him. So he's also a session member. Then we have Mr. Bismarck Ntifu. A tree excellent, and I appreciate him coming here. So Mr. Bismarck Ntifu. Then we have Mr. Emmanuel Fonyoko. So he didn't go to Salem, but he's also here. The rest who are here, they are Salem members. My junior brother, Ben Adote. My mates, Shamu, Emmanuel, Adom Mama. I'm a page session members. New session members. Mr. Mate, sorry. Senior. Boy, but don't be silent and my fokum. Mr. Mate, also a session member. So, session be a far, honestly. So, whatever we need to do, we'll do to move session. We want to thank all of you for coming. And I salute all the seniors. Mr. Jones, my brother, Salem. Thank you for coming. Reverend Dagadu was here earlier. He had to leave. We appreciate that, Papa.
Thank you very much, Papa. Uncle David, we are grateful. Like Papa, Prof has said, we really commend you for this great move. And we say thank you so much. God bless you so much. Papa John Jones, I wasn't expecting you, but you've been able to come. We thank God so much. Shall we all please rise and then share the grace together? May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forever. Amen. Thank you very much.